In today's lesson, talk about how you really never know who has the money to join or who has money to buy. So don't prejudge, okay? Don't prejudge. You never know who really has the money. Now, and this is across all industries. And everything that I've done in terms of how to sell and promote something, I always get surprised. And I'll share with you, way back in the day, like one of the ways I built the business, I built it online. Actually, the reason I went online was, I'm a shy, quiet Asian kid from Brooklyn, New York. I didn't have many friends in LA. Most of my friends are in New York. We did not have Zoom. So I started buying leads. I thought, you can get leads, interested prospects. And I'll tell you, I bought leads and they all sucked. Okay, that's why I actually been building online. I've been since 2004 to start generating my own leads. But way before then, I remember when buying leads, I remember one of the questions was, how much money do you have available to invest? Right, and you fill that question. How much money? And some people pay $100. Some people say $1,000, $5,000. I think the option was like $100, $500 to $1,000, and it was never correct. People who said they had $1,000 and to join our company was like $700 didn't have the money. Some people put $100 was all of a sudden will come out with $1,250 to get with the top package. Right? So that was a lesson I learned. Never trust what people are saying, how much they're willing to invest. And because if you show enough the value, people will join. Okay, people will buy. And so never prejudge. You say, this person doesn't seem to have money. They're not going to. Often I'll tell you one thing. And this is sales or a lot of different things. A lot of the things that you people think that easily have the money, they don't buy. But a lot of times the people who actually don't have the money will surprise you, right? In network marketing, share with you, network marketing, I remember people I thought really don't have much money, they'll surprise me and come out with suddenly with a $1,250 package. I remember one woman, she didn't have money, but obviously she got a little inheritance, but she was living in a trailer park. She got started with $300, but she started with $1,250. And then I also people who were MBAs, great jobs, making six-figure incomes, and then they'll get started with like a $300 package. I'm like, come on. So you never know. And I would share with you, often the people I thought had the money often would disappoint me. I'm sharing this with you because if someone doesn't join, don't get disappointed. Because it works, if you stay in this long enough, you win out, right? You win some, you lose some, but overall you're going to win. It's like I'm investing in baseball cards, sports cards. Sometimes I lost, sometimes I won. But overall, if you stay consistent, you're going to win. And it's the same thing. Like I remember people were like, they're going to join, have the money and never joined. And then there were a lot of people that stayed consistent who didn't have the money, could barely even pay rent, but they'll come up with the money to get big packages. Right? They'll apply for another credit card or something else, and they have the money to start. So never prejudge. I'll give you another example. It's like just talking about it's even outside of network marketing, right? Like baseball equipment. I know someone that is like multiple six-figure earner, right? As a dentist, very successful dental practice, but he doesn't buy the best equipment for his kids. He buys all this cheap equipment. I'm like, I always recommend, hey, my son, you should use this bat, you should do this, but he never buys any of it. Like super stingy. I'm like, you have all the money. Get your kid a good glove. I don't know why he doesn't. But then I have someone that is like a blue collar worker, right? And hats off to your blue collar workers. This guy's a nice guy. Doesn't have much money, but his son has like $400 bats, has $250 baseball gloves, always has the nicest equipment, the nicest shoes. But this kid, that's the son of a dentist with multiple six-figure big practice, wears like the cheapest stuff. So you just never know. I'm sharing this with you because you're going to be surprised. The people who have the money to join often don't join or with cheap packages. The people who least expect will surprise you. And it happens all the time. I just saw it again. I talk about it, the baseball equipment, right? But network marketing happens all the time. So here's what you need to do, right? Number one is your action step is you have to close with confidence. Always close with confidence, meaning you assume people will buy. Always assume. Don't say, well, this person said that they don't have much money, or they're only making $40,000 a year. They can't afford the product. That will kill you anyway, right? You never know. Because I tell you, people who are government benefits, welfare, they have money to buy big TVs, right? They will. If you show the value, if you are confident enough, if you're selling your vision, yourself, people will come up with the money. So you must always assume they're going to join and close with confidence. Hey, they're going to join. Don't prejudge them. Okay, and also you never know their financial situation. So, for example, right, this guy I know of the multiple six-figure practice, he's buying cheap baseball equipment for his kids. I don't know his situation. He may be, he started, his practice may be doing really bad. He may be bought stocks and the stock market crashed and lost all his investments. I don't know that. He bought real estate properties, commercial real estate properties because of COVID have crashed. I don't know. So I can't prejudge. I don't know the situation. Right? Someone that has no money, maybe they're hungry, they're applying another credit card, they have a chance to get started. So don't prejudge. You really don't know their financial situation. And like I said, always assume people buy. If you assume people buy, close with confidence. That is how you close sales, right? Never, never, never prejudge. And then one of the big tips, I know the big traps is, I got to qualify them, just assume everyone's going to buy the biggest package. Everyone's going to join. Everyone's going to buy. Because you have a great product, great service, great business. Always assume they're going to buy and never, never, never prejudge.